Welcome to Getting Heated, the place to debate and discuss all things surf-related. Find out which surfers are dominating their 14-day quarantine. Plus, we're debating the legacy of Adriano de Souza and bold opinions on the best free surfers of all time. Finally, we are digging into the controversy behind Kelly Slater's decision not to head to Australia. Let's start some heats.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Getting Heated, the place to debate all things surf-related. I'm Coco Ho, and I'm here for it all. My favorite part of the show is introducing these two legends, Coolangatta's Mick and Hawaii's Ross Williams. Guys, I hope you had a really strong coffee because the tour is almost back, and we have a lot going on today.
Hi, Coco. I see a fireplace there. Where are you?
I'm in Aspen.
Oh, sweet. Well, look, I've already put some Red Bull creamer in my coffee, so I'm fired up. Let's do this.
So good. We are getting a lot closer to the Australian leg. We have 35 surfers in quarantine, and that's the topic of our opening exchange of Heat 1. We're seeing all the CT surfers on Instagram sharing their quarantine stories, and with less than 3 weeks until Newcastle starts, Heat 1 question is, who is most likely to utilize their time in isolation and to stay fit and get fully ready for competition? Mick, let's start with your pick.
Yeah, so my pick is Courtney Conlog, someone who works extremely hard in and out of the water. And I just feel like she's got a pretty level head on her that will get her through this quarantine series.
That's funny, Mick, because we both picked high-energy individuals that are going to be in quarantine, which is sort of an oxymoron. But I picked Italo Ferreira just because I think Italo is the unofficial spirit animal of the WSL. I mean, he's just so much fun to watch. I know it's going to be pretty tough for him. It's sort of like a caged lion. But I actually think he'll come out of the other side of quarantine with so much energy that he is just going to be flying even higher on his waves. He's so good at it already.
This could be dangerous.
Those are incredible choices. Let's check in and see if your two picks are dominating quarantine like you think they are.
Hey guys.
Courtney, how you going? Reason for the call, we're checking in on a couple of athletes that we think are going to dominate quarantine. And you're my pick. You're one of the hardest working athletes on the tour. I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing with quarantine. Give us an update of what's been happening the last couple of days.
Yeah, I've actually been doing great. I'm going to give you guys a little show around the room. I actually have the sickest setup right now. I actually have a row machine set up right by the window, right over there, and it's got my right cord disc, a tiger tail, these cool black balls that that WSL gave us to roll out. And sorry, I'm a child. Oh my gosh. So you guys would have laughed. Well, I was attempting to do a pull-up kind of thing here, but I had a door jam it there. I was attempting to. I opened the door and I look outside and the security guard was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "I swear I'm not leaving. I'm just trying to work out here."
Big no.
I totally set the fire alarm off yesterday.
Here I am thinking that you're going to be all
Serious?
controlled and everything, and it's everything but controlled. You're burning the house down. You're trying to rip dolls off.
You know what? I mean, it's the spontaneity, that keeps you sane through it all, and also random humor to keep Coach laughing. But,
You
yeah.
had me laughing. Oh, we're cheering for you. We're going to check in on your potential neighbor, Italo, now. So wish us luck.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like Italo's probably on the same track, just keep on his toes, so.
Exactly.
You.
Thanks, Court. Hey, Italo. Ross chose you as his pick to be utilizing isolation the best. What have you been up to?
I'm doing some exercise. That's my third one of the day. And yeah, I think I have a lot of energy, so I'm trying to get busy on those days.
How many Red Bulls have you had already today?
I have my second one, but 4 coffee, so I'm ready to do more training.
No, you're gonna come and looking yoked.
I'm doing a lot of exercise, about dancing and I don't know, like doing videos but the time is always the same, so has been hard.
Have you tried sleeping?
I think 2 days good sleeping, but the last couple of days I wake up 3:30 and start working and watch videos and talk with my friends and try to do something.
Another big question that we have for you. Where's the hair?
Oh, wait. It's right here.
It's a wig.
Yes.
No more, bruh.
No.
Maybe
Wait,
after the contest.
I'm so confused.
He ties
They're
it in.
clip-ons.
Hair extension.
Awesome.
It's hard to serve, so.
You're telling me.
Maybe end of the year there's going to be an award for who has the best hairstyle through the year. Right now it's you and Mikey Wright.
Yep, you're winning.
Yeah,
you might be
maybe
winning
mine.
now. We're super stoked to see you, Italo, and we hope you stay contest ready. Thanks for letting us bother you.
Thank you, guys, and see you guys soon.
Yeah, Italo. And I think Red Bull might need to send another carton towards you. You'll be finished that one today.
Yeah, please, send me more.
Send help.
See you, Ross.
Bye. I feel bad whoever's next door to those two.
This is like a bad science experiment. I'm almost want to retract my answer right away. Italo looked like he was having a rough time in there.
He's not doing well, man.
When we return, Mick and Ross name their favorite free surfers of all time. And in his final season on tour, what will Adriano de Souza's legacy be? We're digging into that when we get back. Welcome back to Getting Heated. I'm Coco Ho, joined by CT veterans Mick Fanning and Ross Williams. Do we all qualify as veterans?
I think so. We've all been on tour for more than 10 years.
Definitely way past any prime.
Speaking of CT veterans, with 15 years on tour, Adriano de Souza's legacy on tour is the topic of Heat 2. Adriano is retiring at the end of this season, 15 seasons, 7 CT wins, and 1 world title. The Heat 2 question is, will Adriano's legacy go down in the history books as the most impactful Brazilian surfer on tour? Ross, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a big one because Adriano de Souza is well respected by all his peers. Here's the thing: social media is a monster, and I think no one owns it better in our sport than Gabriel Medina. The guy has 8.4 million followers. That's more than the WSL, Kelly, Stab Magazine, all these huge followings combined. He's got 2 world titles. Not only is he very fine-tuned with social media and competitive surfing, but he's also very exciting, and that's where he really separates from Adriano de Souza. Everyone respects how Adriano is a great competitor, and he came from small meetings to the big time, just a humble warrior. But Gabriel is very exciting, and he engages all these young kids that want to surf like Gabriel, that want to do airs like Gabriel. So I think, if you're looking at legacies and what their career will look like in 30 years from now, everyone's going to look back at Gabriel Medina and how he really transformed the sport for all Brazilians.
Yeah, look, you talk about transforming the sport. I feel like Adriano was that guy that transformed the belief in the Brazilian surfers. Adriano was the first one to come through and consistently be in the top 10. I think he was there for 8 times out of his 15 years. He had a handful of top 5 finishes. So I feel like his legacy is changing the thought pattern of what Brazilian surfers can do on tour. I think even since he was a young kid, he's always been this ferocious competitor. I think that's just the Brazilian trait. They go for it and they leave nothing on the table. But he actually was one of the hardest workers as well. He was someone that would go to an event, 2, even 3 weeks in advance sometimes, just to put in the work. So he was 100% prepared. And, I think the world title that he got in 2015 was the perfect piece of the puzzle that really cemented all that hard work for him.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to deny that Adriano de Souza is the honey badger of professional surfing. The guy's got so much heart. But, again, the question was who's going to have, at the end of the day, the biggest impact on Brazilian surfing. So the door is wide open thanks to Adriano de Souza. But again, that impact, that nuclear bomb that is Gabriel Medina, that's going to stand the test of time.
Personally, I love seeing Adriano in a jersey, but hopefully enjoys many years of free surfing ahead. And free surfing brings us straight into Heat 3. Although it's not easy to build a career around free surfing and video clips, some legendary surfers have done it. So here's the Heat 3 question. Who would you say is the absolute best free surfer of all time? Mick, who do you got?
Yeah, look, I guess, everyone sort of goes the same way, but I'm going to go step it back a bit. He sort of paved the way, I think, for the free surfers, and that's Brendan Margison, or Margot as we know him. Ross pretty much started in his early days, a movie that I absolutely love, Sons of Fun. And Margot just went on through all these different Billabong movies and just set the world on fire with his surfing. Was he a great competitor? Probably not. I think he won one event in his whole life. So he was horrible at surfing heats, but just the legacy that he had for showing the way that he could be a free surfer and still make money with amazing clips and video parts. I think Margot is the pick for me.
Wow, Mick, I absolutely love that pick. Margot is definitely one of my all-time favorite surfers. This kind of fits the same category as someone who's definitely uncomfortable in a jersey, and that's Dane Reynolds. This guy, in my opinion, and I think almost all of his peers would agree, he does surfing that almost no one else can match. His reckless abandon with power, progression, everything he does above the lip, below the lip, he just is so raw, and it just captivates you at its best. He's just your core free surfer. Ironically, it took maybe 3 years on tour to figure out, nah, this is not good for me. And to be honest, I know a lot of his fans were bummed because they want to see more of, Dane Reynolds in the spotlight, because we all love watching him surf and they want to, cheer him on to win events. But I think it's good that there's people out there like Dane, because he's not boxed in heats, he's able to push as hard as he can. And that's what we want. We want to see everything that Dane can do on a wave. And that's not about winning a heat. That's just about, being a pure artist.
It's pretty funny, isn't it? Like you have a look at Dane surfing. It is so raw and it is so aggressive when he's in the water. You'd think that would translate into competitive surfing, but it so doesn't. But yeah, such unique styles. Margot was just, so unorthodox as well. Just a very, very unique style. And I think people just fell in love with his character through these movies, this clumsy goofball that, just was always walking around with a giant smile.
Yeah, and what's cool that I like about your pick is for Margot, he's from the 90s, and we had horrible boards back then. They were really challenging to ride, but it did kind of lend to how Margot surfs. He had that classic narrow stance, super knock-kneed. He had that picture-perfect knock-kneed tail slide that he was so good at. And then the opposite with Dane Reynolds, he's a product of the 2000s or 2010s, where he's got that wide stance, stubby surfboards. He's constantly just either overpowering his board or flying in the air. So it's neat how these free surfers were sort of shaped by their era.
If you could pick one Margot section and one Dane section, what would it be, Ross?
Ooh, it's burned into my memory all the time I spent with Margot filming that movie, Sons of Fun, with Jack McCoy in Bali. Some of that footage from him was insane. For Dane Reynolds, I loved the early 2000s when he had his own website. He always would put up these like 10, 15-minute clips once a month. I watched every single minute of it. I just couldn't get enough of it. I mean, the guy is just sick.
Oh, Marine Layer Productions.
I really respect both choices, and I don't know why that is. Sometimes the jersey is just so heavy.
Coco, who's your favorite free surfer of all time? And you can't say Mason.
I was gonna say it's written all over my DNA. It's definitely Mason, and he's someone I can attest that has so much talent but cannot put it together in a heat. I just remember watching QSs with my dad, and we couldn't even see Mason in the screen and the commentators would be like, and Mason's sitting on a peak way to the south, and we just couldn't even see him. We're like, how? Why? So yeah, great free surfer, interesting competitor, but definitely my number one. When we return, Kelly Slater may be out for the start of the Australian leg, but is this a sign of what's to come for the GOAT? We're going deep into this one when we come back. Welcome back to Getting Heated. Mick and Ross, we have one final topic that's been getting a lot of buzz. Can anyone guess who it involves?
Yeah, look, it's probably just one of two people, but I'm going to go with the GOAT this time, and I think it's about Kelly.
It's got to be about the old golden goat. Let's tap in.
Yeah, we can't avoid the news of Kelly Slater not making it to Australia. Let's dig into the controversy in today's Going Deep segment. When the news broke that Slater wouldn't be heading to Australia, some of us weren't surprised. He released a statement saying, "I've been struggling with recent and ongoing injuries in both ankles since the Pipe Masters." He also stated that he needs to get himself out of constant pain. So here's the Going Deep question. Is Slater's commitment still there, or is this a sign of what's to come? Ross, I know you guys are really close. Start us off.
Yeah, I had a nice long talk with Kelly, and the injuries are definitely real. The sort of elephant in the room is is going to Australia fun right now for everyone? Is a quarantine, is that something that would be enticing for Kelly? Of course it's not, but I honestly don't think that's the driver here behind his decision. He tore his hip about 10 days ago. That was a real pretty solid injury. That was a sprain that was really bothering him. And then he was riding some dirt bikes, which is a huge Grom mistake during the Pipe Masters, and he actually sprained both his ankles. So all these injuries combined, I mean, he was kind of hobbling around. Kelly is a complete surf turkey, Mick, and he hasn't surfed for the last couple of weeks. So he's not feeling that great. I think we just need to get him back to 100% before he gets back on tour.
That's my thing though, Ross. It feels like it's, he keeps coming out with the same statement. Obviously there are injuries now, but the same statement, I'm getting my body back to 100% where I can go for a world title. Like, is it deja vu or what? To me, it sort of feels like his commitment's wavered. We go back over the few years. Obviously, when he broke his foot in J-Bay, horrific injury. He probably came back a little bit early and tried to surf J-Bay, but then he had an event off and then got a third at the surf ranch, but then had the rest of the events off until we got to Pipe. And for me, it's sort of, he's gotten to that point, which he can do and pick and choose events, but I'd probably look at it a little bit more like, if you're going to pick and choose events, why don't you just say, I'm not doing the tour, and just get wild cards? I'm sure the WSL would just say, oh, you can have this wild card, that wild card. They would give it all up. It's Kelly Slater. Like, the amount of attention that would come to it, I think would be great. But I feel like, the unwavering dedication to this, I feel like some people are getting frustrated.
Yeah, it'd probably be one or two Groms that are, right there sitting next up to get the invite on tour, are definitely over Kelly, waffling around. But that'd be about it. I think everyone else wants to see Kelly on tour. Here's my thing, Mick. Kelly's still relevant on tour in terms of the way he surfs. He's still ripping, even at a beach break. Like, let's say Kelly was suited up for Newcastle and Narrabeen. I think the guy is still deadly. I think he could still do really well in these events. Would he be the favorite to win over someone like Italo? No, he's not going to be, but he would definitely be solid. And I know he's still ultra competitive, but Kelly as well as I do, Mick. The guy he can't make up his mind where he's going to have lunch in 3 hours. He's got his computer open and he's looking at like 8 different restaurants, and he's reading Yelp, and he's probably arguing with people in the comment section. I mean, the guy is just all over the place, and we love him for it. But, he just needs to resettle back in after these injuries and commit to the tour.
Do you think, though, Ross, this would have been a perfect time to spend 2 weeks in quarantine? He's not surfing anyway, and just do 100% rehab. As we've seen, the athletes can get gym equipment. You can easily do Skype calls or FaceTime calls with practitioners and, work with stuff. Wouldn't that have been a perfect time if he was committed?
I mean, here's the thing, Mick. You're about a decade younger than I am. Once you get into your late 40s, it takes a while to bounce back from these injuries. And Kelly, again, he's a guy that's dedicated his entire life to the sport. He's got serious injuries that, it's not easy to wake up and jump out of bed and surf a heat, even if you've been, doing all the right things with diet and stretching and rehab and seeing a physio, which Kelly is religious with. But, I don't know. I can't answer that question. It's up to him. He needs to decide when he can get that 49-year-old body back in shape to, mix it up with kids.
I think him taking these injuries and, you know, sort of only doing 1 or 2 events here, it's starting to almost getting to the point, will it hurt his legacy? You know, will he just sort of like just fade off into the distance? You know, you want him to go out with the bang of all bangs, you know, but I feel like that's sort of, it's getting on the verge of it now.
I want to say I agree with you. I think it's, you know, no one wants to see an absolute legend kind of go out on not on top. For Kelly, he's made statements over the last several years. I don't mind getting put out into the pasture, I think is the quote he's been using, meaning, hey, bring it on. And if you're good enough to take me out, let's see it. And to this point, even though I want to agree with you, I think it's starting to get there. It's not quite there yet. The kid is still ripping. I see him all winter long in Hawaii. He's still kind of doing the best surfing. But to your point, it is in certain waves. It's not in the little tiny beach breaks. And we're going to have a couple events coming up in Australia where he would have been really put to the test. So you know Kelly as well as I do, Mick. I don't think anything's by mistake.
Yeah, as you say, like being put to the pasture. It's funny. When I decided to wear, or I was thinking about it, I actually asked Taj Barrows. I was like, you know, have you ever thought about retirement? He goes, yeah, look, his quote was, we'll probably keep continuing to qualify until you are at a certain age and you just can't walk out. So it's sort of on us to make the decision of when we want to do it. You know, I personally don't want to see him go out that way. I'd love to see him have this huge shindig of just like, this is the GOAT's last event, be at Pipeline, and have an event like he just had, you know, a third, or even make the final and or win an event. You know, I think that would be the amazing way to go out. But yeah, look, as you say, he can't make up his mind about dinner. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, and you know Kelly's going to surf the Pipe Masters until he's 70, so we're never going to get rid of him, thankfully.
Forever at the Pipe Masters, we'll take it. That does it for today's episode. Good luck to all the surfers in quarantine, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers.